What does it say about Barack Obama that it takes two of you to beat him?
That's just debate too. Jesse Jackson won South Carolina twice in '84 and '88. And he ran a good campaign, and Senator Obama's run a good campaign. He's run a good campaign everywhere. He's a good candidate with a good organization.
Oh, I get it. It's the black primary. So, of course, the black candidate wins. I mean, Jesse Jackson and Barack Obama have literally nothing in common other than the color of their skin. So that was absolutely what Bill Clinton was saying, isn't it?
A notice line. Behind Kennedy's Obama endorse. January the 29th, 2008. Dick Morris and Eileen McGann. What does Ted Kennedy's endorsement of Barack Obama really mean? In addition to seriously boosting Obama's chances for the Democratic nomination by anointing him as the generational heir to John F. Kennedy, there's something else that's just as important for the body politic. Kennedy, Obama and the voters of South Carolina may have told the death knell for the Clintons' reprehensible politics of personal destruction. It's about time. For more than 30 years, no one has been able to stop Bill and Hillary Clinton from routinely acting on their shared base instinct to annihilate anyone who gets in their way in whatever way it takes, however long it takes, whatever it costs, and then to enjoy watching their targets suffer. After successfully employing their slash-and-burn tactics for years, they've come to truly believe that their reprehensible politics are justified, even necessary. Remember Hillary's glee when she announced that the fun part of the campaign was about to begin, her attacks on her fellow Democrats. She was serious.
Well, now the fun part starts.
In Washington, Arkansas and recently in South Carolina, the Clintons have used whatever slimy tactics they felt they needed, ruining reputations, invading the privacy of their targets by dispatching private detectives to comb their records, lying about their opponents, blackmailing and threatening women who dared to say yes, or even no, to Bill.
All of the issues.
I could hardly breathe. Gulping for air. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
I'm looking at how to help you and other people who are hardworking like you.
She was just holding on to my hand. She didn't, because I had started to turn away from her, and she held on to my hand. And she said, do you understand everything that you do? I mean, cold chills went up my spine. That's the first time I became afraid of that woman.
Remember how the Clintonites released Linda Tripp's confidential employment files to Jane Mayer of The New Yorker after Clinton hitman Harold Ickes met with Tripp's boss? Years later, the Defense Department settled a lawsuit with Tripp for over $600,000 for invading her privacy. Then there were the stories branding Monica Lewinsky as a stalker trying to hurt the president. Those were traced back to Sidney Blumenthal, a Clinton White House advisor. This year, Bill Clinton has been Hillary's hitman, especially in South Carolina, where he was in charge of branding Obama the black candidate. Shamelessly seeking to marginalize the first serious African-American candidate for president, Bill worked overtime at stirring dissension. It's been revolting. And it seemed that no one could stop them. Now the voters of South Carolina and the Kennedys have stepped forward and openly challenged the tawdry Clinton politics of personal destruction, their hit job on Obama, their use of the race card, their claims of dynastic privilege. On Saturday, 55% of South Carolina voters said no to the Clintons. After listening to the two of them disparage Obama, distort his record, dice his hopes and dreams for America, South Carolina backed Obama and his politics of hope. And Kennedy, in his lofty endorsement of Obama, served notice on the Clintons that the days of their politics of personal destruction are over. Apparently Kennedy called the Clintons last week and demanded an immediate end to their transparent racial politics and attempts to destroy Obama. They ignored him. Now Kennedy has made it clear that the Democratic Party and the voters of America are no longer going to tolerate and ignore the Clintons' sordid personal politics. Bravo!
There's a professor at University of Maryland that made this observation the other day. The only way that Obama is going to be elected is to try to neutralize race. And when you're talking about Bill Clinton and so far as they try to blacken Barack Obama, what they do is play on the divisiveness of the racial sector. The objective of the Clinton campaign is to make him blacker, which is to call out his blackness and therefore to complicate his constituency, which is predominantly white. Weighed in with these very powerful, forceful words. It's legitimate to ask, given the destructive developments of the last few weeks, whether the Clintons are capable of being anything but divisive. The electorate seems more polarized now than it was just a few weeks ago, and the Clintons have seemed positively gleeful in that atmosphere. It makes one wonder whether they have any understanding or regard for the corrosive long-term effects on their party and the nation of pitting people bitterly and unnecessarily against one another. What kind of people are the Clintons?
Benny, the Mr. Black President Bill Clinton used a race card against a black candidate, and the blacks will not forget this in November.
Toni Morrison, you owe black America an absolute apology. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because if Bill Clinton was a black president, he wouldn't have thrown Monty Guinier under the bus, his so-called friend. If he was the first black president, he wouldn't have let 400,000 people in Rwanda die if he was so-called the first black president. But he
also just for accuracy, it's 800,000.
Well, rather than go through the specific thing that Bill and Hillary have done, or their surrogates have done, just look at the fact that before Obama won Iowa, race was totally absent in this contest. Nobody talked about it. There was no polarization based on it. Since Obama won that contest, the only thing we've heard talk about is race. No more change, no more experience, just race. And it has polarized. Blacks are now voting for Obama by 67-16, and whites are now voting for Clinton by 42-20-something. I think that's a conscious strategy on the part of the Clintons. I think they know that when there's a serious chance of a black getting elected, that the black vote is going to go en masse to the African American candidate, and they know that to win, they need to provoke a white backlash.
100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination.
My guess is that what they're going to do is they are going to play the race card, but they're going to do it in a very subtle way.
They say to themselves, okay, I have a choice between a truly inspirational speaker who has not done the kind of spade work
Give me a break. This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.